News Panorama is a TV news magazine program that gives you the story behind the story.
It tells the stories the way they should be told by capturing the larger scale.
It deals with people's deep feelings on issues that, when brought to the fore, ultimately educates, informs, and entertains.
News Panorama. Capture the larger scale.
Electricity is a fundamental social life, acting as a crucial input for economic, industrial, and technological development. It is no longer considered a luxury, but a necessity for basic human well-being, providing essential services such as lighting, refrigeration, healthcare, and communication. Recently, the federal government, in a bid to address electricity issues, approved 3.3 trillion naira to clear debt in the power sector. The big question is, after spending this amount, will this solve the problem of power in Nigeria? Again, the federal government approved the sum of 135.22 billion naira in the 2026 national budget to handle legal matters related to election ahead of the 2027 general election. How does this impact on the common man? On the program today, we'll also be capturing the high rates of mentally unstable people in Calabar. Governor Bassetu meeting with stakeholders on the pressing oil well issues. Governor Tu's fulfillment to the people of a local government area of the state. These and many more interesting reports are on our lineup this week. It is a must-watch.
News Panorama. Capture the larger scale.
Welcome and thanks for joining me on the program News Panorama. I am Josephine Efanga. If you've just tuned in, you're watching News Panorama. Electricity supply in Nigeria has long remained a major concern for citizens and business alike. In a bid to address this, the federal government recently approved 3.3 trillion naira to clear debts in the power sector, a move aimed at improving electricity generation and distribution. While this move is expected to boost operation, many are still skeptical about its impact. Praise Chijoke tells us more, the report.
For many years, electricity supply in Nigeria has remained a major challenge affecting both households and businesses across the country. Despite several reforms and interventions, many Nigerians continue to experience irregular and unreliable power supply, with some forced to rely on alternative sources of energy to meet their daily needs. In a recent development, the federal government approved the sum of 3.3 trillion naira to clear a long-standing debt in the power sector. This move is expected to improve liquidity within the sector, enable power generation and distribution companies to operate more efficiently, and ultimately enhance electricity supply across the nation. Responding to the approval, some residents expressed optimism about the new initiative, saying it will lead to improved electricity supply in Nigeria.
Today there will be light, tomorrow there's no light. Like my own area, I live at Target, there's no light for past 3 months. We will be paying NEPA bill. What Mr. President said, I don't really know, but we are praying it should be so to Nigeria.
While some Nigerians remain hopeful, others point to deeper, long-standing issues responsible for the persistent lack of stable electricity in the country, stressing that the problem goes beyond the financial constraints.
The government, they know what to do. They have advisors. You see, Nigeria, I think they need to increase the megawatts. You understand? Or if that one keep failing, they should build. They know what to do. We have the money, we have the resources. Even if it's not 24 hours, at least half of it a day.
Many believe that beyond clearing debt, the government must address critical challenges within the power sector, including effective regulation and accountability to ensure consistent electricity supply.
Well, we can't really predict, but because for me, if you want to really look about it, I think this should be handled by federal. Because giving someone, one particular person own a company, he can wake up, decide to do whatever he like, which you can't question him. You are not saying that power hold is owned by somebody. You can decide to do what they want to do. So I think that maybe that's the reason we are suffering from those things.
This electricity from our country here, but we say they like to another country. They are enjoying life, but we in our country we are not enjoying the light. But another country that they have the power city from us, they are enjoying the light. That's why we don't have steady light in Nigeria.
Ultimately, while the move to clear the 3.3 trillion naira debt offers a glimmer of hope for improved electricity supply, many Nigerians believe that only sustained reforms and proper implementation will guarantee long-standing change in the power sector. For CRBC News Panorama, Praise Chijoke report.
The federal government of Nigeria has proposed the sum of 135.22 billion naira in the 2026 national budget to handle legal matters related to elections ahead of the 2027 general elections. The budget provision described as electoral adjudication and post-election provision is aimed at covering the cost of court cases and other legal processes that usually arises after elections are conducted across the country. Our correspondent Blessing Basi reports that the move has also drawn attention from stakeholders and members of the public, with some questioning the size of the allocation, its necessity, and what lies ahead of the 2027 general elections. The report.
Research has shown that election period in Nigeria often comes with several disputes from candidates in political parties who challenge election results in court. However, these cases can last for months or even years, requiring funding for legal representation, court processes, and settlement of other election-related obligations. Recently, the Nigerian federal government proposed an allocation of 135.22 billion in the 2026 budget for electoral adjudication and post-election provisions related to the 2027 general elections. The question in the minds of Nigerians is, of what impact is the allocation to the common man? Reacting to the allocation, some respondents explained that such large amount of money being set aside for election-related lawsuits highlights the ongoing challenges facing Nigeria's electoral system. They believe that improving transparency and fairness during elections could help reduce the number of disputes and lower the cost of legal battles.
Actually, the federal government is actually owing such amount of money that they should pay, because it's the debt, and the debt needs to be paid. So in as much as we're having economic crisis, all these things that will keep on happening. So first of all, they should clear the debt on ground. That is it. And if it's actually borrowed from investors, borrowed from every other particular sector that they borrow this money from, they should replace that money.
I think they're supposed not to bring in this kind of idea at this time. So that is all I can say about it.
Others, however, see the provision of a practical step by the federal government to prepare for the realities of Nigeria's electoral process. They also noted that the large amount of money should be channeled to infrastructural development, employment, and provision of social amenities, as those will alleviate poverty.
And put it into employment section, because already you can see that workers are complaining of transportation. They are really suffering, such that the transportation fare has increased while the salary aspect is still remaining at the normal state. So there's no change, and instead of going to waste that money in political aspect or for the earlier mention of what you said, I think they should channel it into the employment section.
We have not seen any reason why it should pay ahead of litigations. If any party is not satisfied with the outcome of the election, the judiciary is independent, and as such they should go ahead for their legal advice without depending on the money so budgeted for such. That money would have used, even if it is maintaining of our street light and creating an employment opportunity for the youth.
The proposed budget is therefore intended to ensure that the government is financially prepared to manage these post-election legal challenges without delay. For CRBC News Panorama, Blessing Basi reporting.
In recent times, the Calabar Metropolis has witnessed a noticeable rise in the number of mentally unstable individuals roaming its streets, raising concerns among residents and authorities alike. Once known for its serenity and orderliness, the city is now grappling with the growing social challenge that calls for urgent attention, as the increasing presence of these individuals poses both safety and public health concerns. Ifeoma Nekpeita tells us more. The report.
The growing presence of mentally unstable individuals on major roads, markets, and public spaces within the Calabar Metropolis is becoming a source of concern for residents and commuters. From busy intersections to quiet neighborhoods, encounters with such individuals are now more frequent, sparking conversations about public safety, mental health awareness, and the state of social welfare systems in the city. Speaking to some residents within the metropolis, many expressed worry over what they described as an alarming situation. They attributed the rise to several factors, including the abuse of hard drugs, economic hardship, and the lack of adequate mental health support systems.
Current issue, we notice that because of the economic situation of the things, sometimes the situation of living can actually also make some people go to start reasoning the way they are not supposed to, and eventually they also be forced to that. When people don't have what they should depend for living. As a result of thinking can also result of that.
Because some people, out of maybe curiosity or poverty, some people are forced to do what they are not supposed to do, and as a result, it results to the situation they find themselves. And there are some of them that are not absolutely mad as they say, but they pretend. Then it just out to begging for money and food.
Others, however, appeal to the government to take urgent action by establishing a regulatory body or strengthening existing institutions to address the issue. They emphasize the need to move affected individuals off the streets into properly managed facilities where they can receive care, rehabilitation, and support, rather than being left to fend for themselves in unsafe conditions.
So I think the government should look for a way, anywhere they want to take them to, they can do that, just to clear them off the town.
Up a task force. Yeah, it's a very good task force, just only for mad persons in the streets of Calabar, so that they can curtail the
While the situation continues to raise concern among residents, many believe that a coordinated effort involving government agencies, healthcare providers, and the community will be key to addressing the growing challenge. Ensuring proper mental health care and social support systems, they say, will not only restore order but also uphold the dignity and well-being of those affected. For CRBC News Panorama, Ifeanyi Ekweta reporting.
The governor of Cross River State, Senator Bassey Dorotu, has called for unity among elders and stakeholders as the state intensifies efforts to reclaim its position among all producing states in the Niger Delta. Speaking at the high-level meeting on the 6th of April held in Calabar, the governor described the removal of the state from the oil-producing bloc as an injustice his administration is determined to correct. Kelechi John tells us more, the report.
The governor of Cross River State, Bassey Otu, has called for unity among elders and critical stakeholders as the state intensifies efforts to reclaim its position in the oil sector. The governor made the calling during a high-level meeting in Calabar. The meeting brought together elders, political leaders, and other key stakeholders to deliberate on the issue and prove the way forward for the state. Addressing the gathering, Governor Bassey Otu described the removal of Cross River from the oil-producing bloc as an injustice that the state must work towards to correct. He noted that regaining the state's position among oil-producing states will improve revenue generation and promote development across the state, urging leaders and stakeholders to put aside their political differences but put the state first by uniting for the purpose of restoring the state oil wells. According to some respondents, the oil well will boost the revenue allocation from the federal government, advising the state government to channel more resources into agriculture and the oil well money comes.
It will help, most especially if the monies that will be generated, because definitely the return of the oil wells will lead to increase in revenue generation. The allocation coming to Cross River State from the federal government will be increased, and definitely we will benefit. Cross Riverians will benefit from it. And but I want to advise the government that the government should do or look for alternative ways of generating revenue other than the oil wells.
This once emphasizes that if the state's oil well is restored, it will create job opportunities for the youth in Cross River State.
To me, it's going to be a good and recommendable idea if we can succeed in having our oil back. We are going to have companies, we are going to have a lot of opportunities.
The best thing is for them to come together and see how they can talk about it and then see a way forward. But if by any means Cross River State will be able to get some of the oil well, I think it will boost even the economy of the state. So it will also help for some structures to improve. It will also help. It will help a long way.
For the state to regain back their oil well, because it will be very beneficiary to the citizen and the indigenous of the state. Employment will come and there will be much money in the purse of the state. So that's my own point of view.
Mr. Lawrence Diban commended the state government for their efforts to regain the oil well to the states.
I think in the aspect of regaining the oil well, the present government is doing well. He's doing well because it wasn't during his tenure that the oil was ceded to Akwa Ibom State. But I think he has tried since he came into governance. He has put effort, put measure on ground, contact the necessary bodies in terms of regaining the oil well back.
It is our collective effort as Cross-Riverians to support the state governor in all necessary and possible ways to restore the state oil wells. For CRBC News Panorama, Kelechi John reporting.
In fulfillment of his People's First agenda, the governor of Cross River State, Senator Bassey Otu, has released the sum of 86 million naira to the Etung Cocoa Estate landlord communities for the payment of land rent arrears for cocoa allocation from 2024 to 2027. The report.
Represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Dr. Ode Ikonga, the Commissioner recalled that the Ministry engaged tirelessly with the Cocoa Landlord Committee culminating in the historic presentation of check to deserving host communities. He commended the committee for his dialogue and expressed appreciation to communities for their patience throughout the process. He further urged them to continue to maintain peace, tranquility, and the security of government assets within their domains, while encouraging sustained support for government agricultural programs and policies. The Commissioner also reaffirmed Governor Bassey Otu's commitment to strengthening the state's agricultural economy, while noting that coffee is being introduced as an emerging value chain. He added that plans are at advanced state for the establishment of new cocoa estates alongside development of coffee plantations.
Today is indeed historic and shall be recorded in the annals of Cross River State that the people that Governor made a promise on assuming office to pay the landlords royalty of the cocoa landlord communities that have lingered since 2024.
Also speaking, the Director of Finance and Supply, Ministry of Agriculture and Irrigation Development, Dr. Nicholas Obung, then disclosed that formal instructions had been issued to the bank for the disbursement of funds in line with the mutuality agreement sharing formula that was made available to the ministry. He presented supporting financial documents to that effect.
He wants to fulfill his campaign promises, which he promised that he wants to elevate the Tongun local government, especially the landlord, because we have a backlog of arrears that they have not been paid. He promised us that he's going to pay, and today we are having a meeting to issue checks.
Earlier, the acting paramount ruler of Etung, His Royal Majesty Ntufam Ambassador Anthony Ntui Etta II, expressed gratitude to God for what he described as a historic day for the Etung people, especially the cocoa estate landlord communities. The royal father appreciated the governor for fulfilling his promise and openly pledged total support for his people for Governor Otu's re-election bid.
What we have written and disbursed to the various communities didn't come out of our initiative, but came out of your collective resolve arising from several meetings we had. The landlord communities come back together with the committee, sit down and give the ministry a resolution fully endorsed by all the representatives and clan heads.
In separate remarks, some stakeholders of the landlord communities commended the governor for bringing relief to the communities. He noted that prior tensions and youth restiveness fueled by misinformation about the land rent would now be addressed following the disbursement.
The government has been very peaceful. In fact, I've never seen a period as peaceful as it, in spite of their grievances. The state is quiet. The state is peaceful. We give kudos to the governor.
I want to thank the landlord communities for also the opportunity they are given by committee to serve in this capacity. By the special grace of God, I want to believe that we have not disappointed you.
Edel Ita.
That is all we have on our lineup this week. We hope to be back same time next week. Do keep a date with us. I am Josephine Efanga. For updates and engagement, follow us on our official social media handles: Facebook at CRBCX, formerly Twitter, Instagram and TikTok at CRBC Online, YouTube at CRBC New Media, WhatsApp on 090-377-87474. We look forward to connecting with you.